My grandfather had an old Chevrolet pickup, eaten away by years of salt air and humidity. The body was rusted through in places, pitted and rough to the touch, but the engine ran strong. We used it every day, hauling tools and firewood out of the back country. The road in and out of our land was long and unpaved, full of dust and deep ruts that rattled your teeth, so we usually kept it slow. It was late when I tossed the last bundle of firewood into the truck bed, and we started heading home. The sky was full of stars. A full moon hung overhead, bright enough to cast shadows, but the headlights barely reached past the hood. Beyond that cone of pale light, the darkness was total. We hadn't gone far when my grandfather slowed to a stop. The main road was blocked. A neighboring farmer had put up a wooden barricade across the path, cutting off access to his land. The kind of thing people do out here, with no warning and no apology. There was only one way around it, a narrow side trail, barely wide enough for the truck, overgrown with brush and loose rock. Even on horseback, people avoided it. My grandfather backed us up without a word. When we reached the entrance to that trail, he sat there for a moment, with the engine idling. He took a long breath. Then he made the sign of the cross. I'd never seen him do that before. Not like that. Not the way a man does it when he's genuinely afraid. I told myself it was nothing. I leaned my head against the window and closed my eyes. Then I noticed we weren't going slow anymore. The engine was loud. Too loud. The truck was hammering over rocks and holes, and my grandfather had both hands locked on the wheel, leaning into it, jaw tight. Not driving carefully. Driving fast. Faster than made any sense on a trail like that in the dark. A hard jolt threw me upright. Grandpa, what's wrong? Nothing. Hold on. And then I felt it. I don't know how else to describe it. A pressure. Not wind, not sound. Just weight, settling over everything. And the absolute certainty that something was watching us. My scalp went cold. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I turned to look at my grandfather, and his face was pale, his knuckles white, his eyes fixed straight ahead, like he was daring himself not to look anywhere else. My heart was hammering. I couldn't get a full breath. I grabbed the seatbelt and squeezed my eyes shut and started praying. Really praying. The kind you only do when you think it might be the last time. I thought about my parents. I was sure we were going to die. Then the truck slowed. I opened my eyes. We were back on a main road, packed gravel. The brush had opened up on both sides, and the night felt different, looser somehow, like a held breath finally let go. My grandfather was slumped against the steering wheel, drenched in sweat, breathing hard. For a while, neither of us spoke. Crickets, the low idle of the engine, nothing else. He put the truck in gear. Gravel crunched beneath the tires as we rolled toward home. The lights of the small farming community just barely visible in the distance. After a minute, he spoke. His voice was quiet, steady. Whatever you heard back there, whatever you felt, you don't tell your mother. You don't tell your grandmother. You understand me? Yes, sir. But what was? Some things walk these roads at night, he said, and you don't look at them. You understand? You do not look. He didn't say anything else. I didn't fully believe it. Not in the way he meant. But the terror I'd seen on his face was real. And what I'd felt in that truck, that weight, pressing down from somewhere above and behind us. That wasn't my imagination working on me. I knew what my imagination felt like. This wasn't it. When we got home, I jumped out to unload. The truck bed was empty. The firewood was gone. The tools were gone. Everything we'd loaded had scattered somewhere back on that trail. I stood there, staring at the empty bed. That's when I saw the dents, several of them. Deep, clean impressions pressed into the metal floor of the truck bed. The kind of marks that don't come from bouncing over rocks. They looked like something had come down hard. Like something heavy had landed there and stood there for the length of that trail in the dark. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, listening to the quiet outside my window. And after a while, I heard my grandfather's voice, low, murmuring, coming from the yard. I looked out, and he was standing at the edge of the property, facing the dark, praying under his breath. I watched him for a long time. It made me think of a man I'd met once, years earlier. A salt worker, young guy, couldn't have been more than 20. His hair was completely white. His face had long scratch marks across it, healed over, but visible. People in the area said he'd encountered something one night, out in the salt flats. He never talked about it. Nobody who knew him pushed him to.